Well, it's been a while, isn't it? The reason why I don't really do my deck profile video often is purely because personally I don't think I am a good builder. So most of the build I build is kind of like tailored to the way I play those particular decks. That's why you guys might see some unusual tech choice in my deck in general. But fortunately enough, this deck list I'm going to be covering today is quite simplistic in playstyle, as there's only more or less two ways to play this particular deck. And if you guys haven't seen the thumbnail yet, it's of course Drajeweled. D-Ignis in particular. And in my honest opinion, Drajeweled comes a long way. I used to like its playstyle, but not liking its clunkiness that it does bring when it just got its proper version in DBT13. And then over time, it just getting worse to me with the mass version. And then it became insanely good in DBT13. And today I'm gonna be covering, of course, my deck list. So if you guys do have like an unusual choice to run in your deck, do leave down the comments below, as I will try to go through some of the possible alternatives to run in a deck, as Drajeweled can be quite expensive to run. So let's start off with the right line. It is obviously Drajeweled right line, and as you can see here, I'm using DSR because I happen to have it. But regardless, personally for me, it is the right line that bring the most value for Drajeweled, and it does give you a little bit of early push, as well as some of the resource that the deck needed before you actually go into the burst turn with Drajeweled in general. And for Drajeweled grade 3, this is where I think some people might have some plus and some thoughts on it, and I'll have to say this: it is fine to run the trial deck version of Drajeweled because you don't really need to use the soul charge 2 and draw 1 skill. It is there as a backup, so if you can get a DBT07 Drajeweled, try to get it. Otherwise, if you are on a budget, just running a trial deck version still bring the result for this particular build. Moving on to main deck, we have of course Ignis being a only grade 4 in the whole deck, and of course I'm running at 4 because it is the most important part of the deck. Ignis brought way too much advantage for the Drajeweled within short period of time, purely due to the fact that not only it helps you to recover 2 cards to soul by just accessing your drop zone for free, it also works very well as a game finisher thanks to its ability to power down to 0 instead of 1, which actually helps a lot with the grade 2 attack, which is gonna be your main unit that will be attacking. And of course the plus 15k is nice. Then moving on to the grade 3 lineup, we only have 5 cards total, not counting Drajeweled, and that is 4 Knockout Geo and 1 Forbiddle. Forbiddle is an obvious staple choice if you're running a grade 4 deck or any deck that do run multiple grade 3s in your deck, and it is an easy way to go plus 2 in the best way possible for this kind of decks. Moving on to Knockout Geo, I would have to say the reason why I'm running this as 4 is purely because of the fact that Ignis in general tends to be stuff of a grade 3 soul if you're not running a lot of grade 3 if you can. And I think Knockout Geo is a perfect solution for that, as not only it helps you to recover your soul further, it also helps you to give you a free draw and additional shield value, making you last a little bit longer even if you going second. And then we move on to grade 2. This is where a lot of choices has been made, and some of these choices might not be agreeable, but for me it feels the most comfortable. So there are a total of 4 different grade 4 I chose to run in this deck, and that is 3 Full Crusher, 4 Sargon, 1 Cranium, and 3 Rock Augur. So my focus on this particular build is to go for a big turn 4 burst. Essentially, I'm focusing on more of a late game and doesn't heavily focus on the early game as much, because I feel that turn 4 is where Drajeweled is at and I want to focus on it. And that's why I'm running for Full Crusher, which is a fantastic card that helps you to recover soul while being a huge beastie, and for the later turn help work double as a draw engine as well. Then you have Sargon, in my opinion, low-key the most important card of the deck, and the card that you easily can get for quite low price based on the pricing in Japan right now. And this is because of the fact that Sargon is essentially a way for you to play Pale Moon style of deck for free. The only thing that you need to make sure you have is a grade 4 in your hand or a grade 4 Drajeweled Vanguard. This makes this card extremely important, as you are able to recover multiple cards from your drop into soul. This means that you can play around with Sargon to actually call some of the more key important cards out from your soul, like Full Crusher, Rock Augur, Vapula, and etc. So to me, Sargon is the most important card to get together with the Vapula. And then we have Cranium Burner. Unusual choice, yes, but this is my designated tech slot. So technically you can run anything in place of Cranium, be it Empusa, additional copy of Rock Agua, or Amethyst, which does work well as an additional share as well. I decided to go with Cranium Burner mainly for two reasons. For one, I have an FR version of him, so might as well. And secondly, I do feel that his ability to get a quick counter charge works very well, and sometimes you need a card that works as a discard target. There's not a lot in the Drajeweled deck, so I decided to include that as one. Then of course we have Rock Agua, which is, in my opinion, is like the old man that you hate back in DBT10, but you like it again once he has a huge relevancy in DBT13. This is purely because of the fact that even if you choose to run both Empusa and Bopula together, you can only play one of them at a time within that turn. So Rock Agua is a missing piece to that solution, as it enables the 5th attack as it always does. And because of the fact that it doesn't have a restriction of, oh, the other red card has stand already, it makes a perfect target to run in the deck. Though I choose to run only 3 copies because there are more important pieces to run in the deck, more so than Rock Agua, as much as he is a very important card to play. And then we move on to grade 1. Aside from your shenanigans or PGs with no sanctitude, of course, because with this being a grade 4 deck, we have Vapula and Horde/Dragon Kid. Vapula, I already mentioned a few times in earlier parts, is essentially an Empusa in disguise. It not only helps you to get one card into your hand, it also helps you to restand a rare card, and on top of that, help you to guarantee that there is a grade 1 card in your soul. So overall, it is a very positive card. Like, to me, if you do not want to run Empusa and you chose to run this card, it is perfectly fine. But if you still want to run Empusa, you can as well, as some of the advantage that Empusa bring, Vapula can't. So just balance your restand cards properly. That's the best way I can say it. And then we have Horde/Dragon Kid. I mean, it's a search share for grade 4. You need those. Because the biggest problem with Drajeweled, in my opinion, with the Ignis build, is the fact that if there is no grade 4, you cannot play. Like, you literally cannot play this deck if you do not have grade 4 in your hand, because some of the most powerful effects in the deck require you to have grade 4 in your hand, or at least a multiple grade 4 in hand or drop zone to get all the effect out properly. So yeah, having a card that help you to search is very good. And not only that, the +1 when you with the top 7 actually come in handy a lot more than I expected. So definitely run more is advisable. Then we have the trigger lineup, of course, in which I chose to go for 7 crit, 4 draws, 4 heal, and the OT of choice is Vanguard. Okay, so here's the thing. I already mentioned earlier that I want to focus on having a burst turn 4. So this is one of the choices that I decided to go with. Vanguard is a disgusting card, especially in the later part of the game, if you manage to pull it off. And in the earlier part of the game, it worked kind of well, though you guys have to be careful if you want to use Vanguard's effect, as it will screw you up if you activate it on turn 2 and you give it to Jewel Core, because Jewel Core force itself to go into soul right after the attack, and you cannot say no to its +5k skill, so be careful when you choose to play that. Also, the reason why I choose to grant more draw is because of the fact that it's a typical dark state deck, so more draw power is helpful for the deck that require quite a few pieces of key cards to actually perform at a maximum level. Fortunately enough, the deck does draw a lot, so if you want to run some other trigger option, you can as well. But I do feel that draw is still the more important aspect for this deck in general. Before we go, there is of course a few of other options that you can run in the deck in place of some of the cards that I put in my deck list. The very obvious one is of course Empusa in place of Full Glacier. I mean, the reason why I choose to run Full Glacier is because I rather have a stronger turn 4, but if you want to have a better turn 3, Empusa is a good choice as well, as it helps you to fetch some of the defensive cards from your drop as well, helping you to last until the Ignis turn. Then some of the other cards that you might want to run if you don't have Full Glacier or Empusa, which can be a little bit pricey, or Aqua, is of course Matevara. Matevara is like a budget version of Full Glacier that only works on place. It works well, but I do feel that in the longer run, Full Glacier just brings so much value to the deck, more so than Matevara, especially Matevara does counter blast.
No, he's got a point.
And of course, we can run things like Sargon and Falcate as well, as those cards help you to refill out the soul. And this is very important, especially if you do not have Knocked Gear, which will definitely be very expensive when the DBT13 come by for the Western version. And last but not least, Restore Gala. Restore Gala, in my opinion, is a very respectable card to play, but it is definitely one of those cards that you don't really want to run unless necessary. This is due to the fact that his timing can be a little bit awkward to do so, but the fact that he can give you additional draw and retire is something that your deck will appreciate if you can do it sometime, because there are some annoying cards you want to get rid of in the current meta as well. And yeah, that's all I have for today. I apologize if I sound a little bit off during this video because I just woke up, to be fair. So I'm still tuning. But what do you guys think of my deck list? Do leave down the comments below on your some other suggestion you want to put in, as it is ongoing kind of development deck, as it will be adjusted to fit my playstyle or like the way the meta is shifting as the time goes. And yeah, that's all I have for today. Take care of yourself, and this is McMegane signing out.